What is the worst advice men over 50 get about joint pain? Stop heavy weight training. That advice has crippled more men than lifting heavy ever has. I've spent more than 30 years as a physical therapist watching men grow old. The men whose joints scare me aren't the ones who are lifting barbells. They're the ones who aren't lifting anything at all. Heavy lifting is still the best thing you can do for healthy joints as a man over 50, and today, I'm gonna prove it. In this video, you're gonna learn why intelligent, heavy strength training is one of the best things you can do for your knees, hips, shoulders, and back after 50, and why trying to protect your joints by avoiding heavy loads is exactly what causes them to become weak, stiff, and painful. Your joints were not designed to avoid heavy loads. They were designed to adapt to them. Your body is always in survival mode. It builds what you use and gets rid of what you don't. Here's the rule. Your body won't feed what it doesn't need. If you stop telling your body to be strong, it stops being strong. Your muscles shrink, your tendons weaken, your cartilage thins, and your bones become fragile. Even the blood flow to your joints slows down. Then one day, a bag of mulch feels heavy, a flight of stairs is difficult, and lifting that box out of your trunk makes your back light up. Not because life got harder, and not because you got older, because you stopped training with heavy loads. Your body didn't betray you with age. It did exactly what you told it to do. Here at Second 50 Strong, we reject the idea that aging means decline. We've been fed the lie that men are supposed to get weaker, supposed to get slower, and become less capable, and then just quietly fade into the background. Here, we prove that garbage wrong. The truth is, a man can become stronger, tougher, more formidable, and more capable in his second 50 years than he was in his first. I'm 54 years old, and I'm living proof. After more than 30 years as a physical therapist and 15 years as a wrestling coach, I've seen exactly what separates the men who keep growing from the men who slowly decline. If you're not done growing yet, you're in the right place. Stay with me until the end because I'm going to show you the 3 biggest mistakes men make that quietly destroy their joints after 50, and I'll give you the mindset shift that will completely change how you think about aging. But first, we need to talk about what is heavy. Heavy doesn't mean maxing out with 1 rep, it doesn't mean being reckless, and it certainly doesn't mean straining until your eyes pop out of your head. Heavy is any weight that really challenges you while allowing perfect form and complete control. Now, if you can do 3 sets of 5 and it really wasn't that hard, that's not heavy. But if your body had to work hard and you completed every rep safely and correctly, that's heavy. This is where every man should train, and here are 4 major reasons why. 1. Heavy builds the most muscles. Muscles protect your joints. Strong muscles are your body's shock absorbers. They absorb force before it reaches your joints. Bigger, stronger muscles reduce the stress placed on your knees, hips, shoulders, and spine every single day. Muscle is your body's first line of defense against joint pain. Weak muscles force your joints to absorb forces that were never designed to handle. Here's a fact. Weak muscles make strong joints impossible. Number 2, heavy builds thicker tendons. Stronger tendons stabilize and protect your joints. They keep your joints steady during lifting, climbing stairs, carrying heavy loads, and reacting to life's unexpected movements. Weak tendons reduce joint stability. That means more unwanted joint play and movement, causing irritation and tendinitis and more pain. Strong tendons fight this by creating stable joints. Here's a fact. Your tendons adapt to training much more slowly than your muscles do. That's why the men who train consistently for years have the strongest, most stable joints. Number 3, heavy builds pliable cartilage. Cartilage needs movement and loading to stay healthy. Cartilage has no direct blood supply. It gets its nutrients by being compressed and released like a sponge. Properly loading the joints helps maintain healthier cartilage over time. Too little loading makes your cartilage brittle and thin. Strength training is frequently used to avoid surgery for hip and knee arthritis because it so often decreases joint pain and improves their function. Here's a fact. Avoiding heavy movement doesn't save your cartilage, it starves it. And number 4, heavy builds dense bones. Bones get stronger under heavy loads. Bone is living tissue, and heavy lifting tells it to become thicker and denser. The strongest bones in your body are the ones that work the hardest. Stronger bones reduce your risk of fractures as you age. If you stop loading your skeleton, your body slowly removes the bone it no longer thinks it needs. Here's a fact. Heavy stress is the #1 driver of thick and dense bones. There is no close second. Now imagine yourself 1 year from today. You've been training with heavy weights every week. You feel younger instead of older. Your old aches and pains are starting to fade away. Heavy things don't intimidate you anymore. You move faster, you feel stronger, your knees feel solid. Your hips are stable and your shoulders, they do exactly what you tell them to do. You find yourself saying yes to difficult things instead of just quietly passing on them. That didn't happen because you protected your joints. It happened because you built them up. While other men were getting weaker, you were getting stronger. Okay, here are the 3 biggest mistakes men make when training their joints over 50. Mistake number 1, believing pain always means damage. These men start walking on eggshells around their own bodies. They stop challenging painful joints and they stop sending out growth signals to their body. They think months of rest will solve the problem, but years later, they're getting knee and hip replacements. Many of them become my patients. And here's the fix. If you develop new intense joint pain, yeah, get it checked out. But if it's nothing serious, get back to smart strength training that joint. Stronger joints hurt less. I have watched this happen hundreds and hundreds of times. Mistake number 2, thinking walking and light movement are enough for your joints. These men are thinking like they're protecting their cartilage, but instead, they're starving their muscles, tendons, cartilage, and bones. Then they fall and break a hip or tear a rotator cuff doing yard work. Here's the fix. Your body only responds to the environment you give it. The easier your life becomes, the weaker your joints get. So train heavy and give your body a reason to rebuild itself. And mistake number 3, not allowing enough recovery. These guys are the opposite. These men train hard day after day. Their bodies get the signal to grow, but never get the time to adapt and recover. Then everything starts aching and they wonder why they feel older instead of younger. Here is the fix. Make your recovery time match your training intensity. You don't get stronger while you're training, you get stronger while you're recovering after. The harder you train, the more recovery your body needs. Growth happens after the workout. For more than 30 years, I've treated people with joint pain. Joint injuries and joint replacements. Over 95% of them weren't there because they lifted too heavy or exercised too much. Most of them weren't strength training at all. These people I saw every day were sedentary, weak, deconditioned. Their pain didn't come from years and years of strength training. Their pain came from not strength training their joints for years and years. I've treated a 70-year-old woman who never exercised and still needed a shoulder replacement, or a sedentary man who still needed knee surgery, or the skinny guy who walked every day but still ended up with a hip fracture. These are different people, but the same stories keep repeating themselves. These were bodies that were never given a reason to stay strong. That's what 3 decades in the clinic has taught me. So why do we keep telling men that heavy lifting destroys joints when inactivity is what's really destroying them? Everything starts with how you think, brother. If you believe you're supposed to get weaker with age, your actions will make that happen. That's why I've created my free Apex Predator Mindset training for men over 50, because the body follows the mind. Our actions follow how we think, and we become the man we believe we are. You can get it by clicking the link in the pinned comments below, and if you're a man who refuses to accept decline, subscribe. Every week, we're exposing another lie that's quietly convincing men to shrink with age. Brother, life doesn't get lighter, you have to get stronger. Getting older isn't a reason to stop lifting heavy, it's the reason to start. Aging is inevitable, and yes, death is certain, but decline? That's a choice. And always remember, most men fade, but you're not most men.